Alright, so welcome everyone. We're gonna record a little stream because Luke and me are gonna talk about the Sonic stream yesterday. This is actually the third time we have this conversation because I keep screwing up the recording. So yesterday we had news about Sonic, Sonic Mania Plus, and a Sonic racing game and some bunch of random trivia stuff. So I guess we just have a casual chat about it. So your thoughts on Sonic Mania Plus?
That does look very interesting. Does seem to have some extra bells and whistles attached to it. Like it's actually getting a physical release, and also we're getting Ray the Squirrel and Mighty from Mighty the Armadillo as playable characters, I believe. In a sense, that's very similar to Sega Sonic arcade game, the one with the trackball thing.
Exactly. So that's pretty awesome. It's a shame that game never really got a release, although it's very hard to port without the tracker ball. I suppose the touchscreen of the DS could have pulled it off, but yeah. But yeah, so it's nice those guys return. I'm not sure how canon it will be, because Sonic Mania is already kind of in a weird canon position, because everything takes place as an illusion. Sorry,
yeah, it's very confusing with the Phantom Ruby or something, and if Sonic Mania is the same Sonic from Sonic Generations or something.
Exactly. So it's a little bit weird. But then again, I don't really care about canon at this point anymore. It's so clear that the writers don't really care much and just do whatever they want. So
yes,
I don't see really much point in trying to figure out what's canon or not. Everything you like is canon. Everything you don't like is not canon. It's like, whatever.
Yeah, and I thought Star Wars fans get confused.
Exactly. Although at least Star Wars tries to make sense. Sonic doesn't even anymore at this point.
No. About different continuities, like that cartoon's in that continuity and that comic's in that continuity because of different actors or something.
Exactly. Oh well, canon and nerd stuff. Isn't it fun?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna buy Sonic Mania. I really want a new levels. Or like something big. And I don't really care about Ray and Mighty that much. I really want to rebuy the game completely. But yeah, it's nice for the people who wanted the physical copy, I guess. And I suppose it had like an alternative play mode. So I assume you can replay the game with the enemy positions different or something.
Oh yes, that'd be good. Yes.
Kind of reminds me of old Sega arcade games like Confidential Mission and Virtual Cop and such that occasionally had like an extra day mode where the enemy positions are different.
Yes.
Okay, and then of course there was the Sonic Mania cartoon show. You looking forward to that?
Yes, that does look very nice. There's a little web series you could have that has. I love the style; looks very fantastic, very similar to what's done in the Sonic Mania opening credits, and does remind me of like the Sonic CD opening and closing sequence. And what's brilliant about that, of course, is that Sonic doesn't talk.
Yeah, I guess that's why Mike Pollock and Roger Gregsmith didn't show up on the panel. They didn't have anything to say about this. Although I do hope they at least have like a sound bite for Eggman's laughing. Eggman won't be the same if he can't laugh.
Exactly.
Probably the one from Sonic CD.
Oh yes, probably the yes, where he goes like in the boss fights where he goes ooh, 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 or something.
Yeah. Although that's probably a meme by this point, so I'm not sure if they're gonna go for that.
Yes.
Maybe they have record Mike Pollock just one laugh.
Yes. Or where he goes like prepare to be schooled or something.
Who knows? Although that's probably already too much.
Yes.
To be honest, I'm not entirely happy with this show because it comes very close to when I have to my Sonic Mania minutes parody finished. So it's probably going to look very bad in comparison. Because, man, animation looks fantastic.
People will love and watch your animations, Roger.
I know. It's not like people even expect much from me. Anyway, yeah, and it might give me new parody material. Who knows? I hope it's stupid. I love when Sonic is stupid in a good way.
Yes.
And then, of course, there's a Sonic racing game. You looking forward to that?
Oh, yes, that does look very interesting. I don't know if the full title has been revealed, but I know it's going to be based solely on Sonic characters and villains, perhaps for its entire series. But it would amuse me if I see Mephiles from Sonic 06 driving a little car. We would go like, I will destroy you all. Whee! Or maybe see Infinite in a little car as well.
That would be amazing. I'm not sure about Mephiles. He's a little bit of a Schrödinger's cat position now. Like he's canon, but not canon at the same time. But Infinite, very likely. And I sure hope he goes into a rant about being weak every time he loses.
Yeah, if he loses.
Poor man. That's always fun to see like evil characters, serious characters in silly situations like that. That's why I love story modes in racing games. There's just something endlessly amusing about introducing stakes in something where everyone is just obeying the rules and driving around in circles. That's why I love.
Hopefully, we'll get levels other than Seaside Hill.
That would be shocking. Although I'm sure Green Hill Zone and Chemical Plant Zone will show up.
Of course.
Although, personally, I don't really mind them recycling assets from Sonic Forces because I think Sonic Forces really wasted a lot of them. Because the city or the spaceport, they look amazing, but you never really get to explore them in the game. You just see them in the background. So seeing them actually appear in a full 3D racing course will probably be amazing.
Right, so that would be good.
So in this case, I don't mind them recycling material.
And also, just popped to my head, if they use the Babylon robes, they'll probably be the only ones that are using hoverboards or something.
Possible. Although the reason why they don't use motorcycles and such anymore is because there's too much difference in the size and that changes the gameplay too much. So it's very unlikely. That's why even motorcycles were banned in Sega All-Stars Transformed. Sucks because I like the motorcycle.
Banned in Mario Kart?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, because Mario could still use motorbikes, but not Sonic.
That's typical.
For Mario? Well, yeah.
Like every single time Sumo makes an excuse like that, Nintendo proves them wrong. It reminds me when they said Bayonetta couldn't appear because he was too R-rated, and then Bayonetta just shows up in a Nintendo game anyway. Smash Bros.
Yeah, Smash Bros. Due to popular vote.
So apparently all this stuff is possible if you set your mind to it, huh?
Yeah. And also, if it comes to the Switch, they could maybe put Mario in, maybe as DLC, I don't know.
I suppose, although I don't want to see too much Mario in Sonic games. But that's just me. So, looking forward to wearing Puma Sonic shoes.
Well, I wouldn't think much about shoes, but anything else Sonic related. There are those little figurines, I think they're like the PlayStation version of Amiibos, where one of them is Sonic the Hedge, the classic Sonic, doing the classic Sonic pose and all that.
That's so weird that Sonic is added as a Sony mascot. It's like, huh? Then again,
and also you've got Crash Bandicoot and Kratos, although it's Viking Kratos, which kind of annoyed me because I want to have classic Kratos, you know?
Yeah. Oh, really? It's Viking Kratos? Maybe just to advertise a new upcoming game or something.
Yeah.
But still, at least Crash Bandicoot started as a Sony mascot before he went multi-platform. So it's still kind of weird to see Sonic among them. But I much prefer to see him as a Sony mascot than a Nintendo mascot, so... Yeah, there wasn't much else to talk about, huh? It wasn't all that super spectacular stuff yesterday at the stream.
Yeah.
So anything people can look forward to, future projects you're working on?
Well, I'm still thinking about what to do. I mean, currently I'm drawing up something for my art account, which is basically those who know my Link, Zelda, and Ganon throughout the ages pictures. I'm updating them up to Breath of the Wild, and also I might be working on more fan fiction readings, because I've done one beginning of this year based on the very strange Harry Potter story created by robots. I'm just trying to think what other fan fictions I could do a dramatic reading of that hasn't been done a million times before.
That's tough. Would be great if you find a nice one, because you have a nice narrator voice, so you do a great job.
Yeah, so I was mostly inspired by YouTuber Man Without a Body, who has this very distinct British-sounding voice and doing these fan fiction readings in a very exaggerated way.
Yeah, you're a great guy for that. So I hope you find something, but alas, I can't help you.
That's all right. I'll find something.
Let's see. Yeah, maybe for April Fools, I want to do a dissected on little games that we don't have much to talk about, just for fun. So I'm just gonna ask you what kind of games you want to see. You had one about a writer.
I suppose there was this indie game that I've been playing last year on the Switch called Layers of Fear. Now, where you play as this struggling artist who wants to create this magnum opus, but he's also an alcoholic, and he's going into this sort of madness, a sort of paranoia, as he stumbles around this very twisted mansion, which distorts and expands, and weird things starting happening, which plays tricks on your mind as he shows the artist's past and and how it affects his own life, the people around him, and his views on art and how it affects him as he tries to make his way out of this, trying to sort his picture out.
Yeah, any other games you might want to propose?
Well, I don't know. Games. Well, I've also been playing Mario Odyssey, which it's a bit of a nice throwback to old sandbox Mario games like Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine. That in a way, it kind of reminds me of Super Mario Land, with Mario traveling around the world, and also he has this little awesome hat companion, which seemed to have a lot of great personality in how he can like possess different things, and like anything you can think of the top of your head, you could be that if you use Cappy, and also like he's trying to stop this wedding between Bowser and Peach, which is quite interesting in some way, because it might explain why Bowser kidnaps Peach in the first place. Sometimes, like, he's actually taken the next step. He's kidnapped her so much he might have fallen in love with her and like actually wants to marry her for this for once.
It's fascinating that Peach occasionally actually seems to consider this. It's not like, no, never, like she's actually,
I can imagine like Bowser saying like, will you marry me? And Peach said, look, can I just think about this? And she said, yes. Okay, let's go.
yeah. But yeah,
I don't... shotgun wedding.
Exactly. Or fire flower wedding in their case. Nah, I'm not sure if I want to talk about Mario Odyssey as a small thing. But yeah, just looking for small games to fill up a bonus dissected, just games you would never talk about. So yeah, the layer game from you.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, another game I was playing. This was back in January. This was called Slain Back from Hell, which is a 2D sprite game where you play as this. It's a bit like Castlevania / Ghosts and Goblins, but with metal. Like metal albums has this theme of like heavy metal with blood and demons, and you play as this warrior with this sword, and it can get very difficult because you've got to strategize when to attack these enemies, because you could die very easily in these sort of games.
Oh, okay. I'll look into that. I'm not sure if there's going to be a lot to talk about or to dissect, but we'll see. We'll just try.
I mean, the Layers game probably has a bit more, might be because you're looking into this artist psyche and how artists can often have their mind warped by what they do, and it might be related to real life artists that might be a bit strange, like Edvard Munch or Salvador Dali.
Who knows? Although Salvador Dali always came across to me more like he's more business savvy, or he's really doing it for attention, not really because he's actual mad. Then again, I haven't really looked into it, so who knows? But yeah, it's fun. I always love exploring people's psyche.
Yeah. So how does the art explain how the artists work? That sort of thing.
Possible. I'm sure
like,
psychology.
Is the picture a window into the artist's mind? That sort of thing.
Do you think if I analyze your drawings, I'll learn a lot about you as well?
Well, it's a possibility, like in terms of style, the type of what the picture conveys, that sort of thing.
Who knows? Sure, well, it could be nice. It would be interesting if there's like a psychologist who just like analyzes art style and tries to figure out what kind of person's behind it.
Exactly.
All right, I'll buy the game and see if I can think of something.
It can be pretty scary though, because halfway through the game you're stalked. In a very sense, it's very similar to the game PT, where you're trapped in this ever shifting room, and there's like this creature that might be the artist's wife stalking him because of what he did to her and how he views her, because like there's probably like some sort of tragedy in the past and he can't get it out of his mind and it's haunting him. That's why it's continuously stalking him throughout the game.
So lots of shock moments.
Yeah. And also in the game, you do the different things that might affect the outcome, so you can decide what to do in the game. Like, do you want to go here or do you want to do that? And also, like, a lot of research you have to do. Like, you have to open lots of drawers and cupboards to find bits and pieces on the artist's past.
All right, although it's probably best not to talk too much about it right now. I have to
Of
save
course,
something up for the dissected.
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. Not much else to talk about, huh? So yeah, that was this.
Actually, there is something that might be interesting me. There is this movie I might be interested in seeing called Ready Player One. I wonder if you've heard of this movie or have an interest in seeing this movie.
Steven Spielberg's new movie based on a book.
It looks like a throwback to old cheesy sci-fi 80s movies, which involves like VR technology or something.
Yeah, I know about it. I'm not sure if I'm super interested, but sure, I'll give it a shot.
Not much age because I'm quite curious because about where VR technology could take us, because it's amazing how such a thing is a reality now, because such a thing was considered sort of like a fantasy back in the 90s with VR odd-looking headsets, and how it didn't actually take off back then. But now it's like fully realized, and even though it's in a primitive state, it could show us where VR technology could take us in the next 10 or maybe 20 years.
True, yeah, indeed. It would be really cool if you could really walk into video game locations in virtual reality. Although I can't imagine how complicated it can be. Like with lawsuits, I mean, if they're already upset about people killing in video games right now, it's even going to be worse in virtual reality when it's really you killing enemies.
Oh, like if you die in the game, you die for real or something.
Yeah, but that a lot of soccer moms will be worried about that. So the first couple of games would have no violence in it at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.
Exactly.
But yeah, and yeah, Sonic, of course, appears in it. We don't know how much, but he is in it.
Oh, right. Probably less the screen time he had in Wreck-It Ralph, probably.
Probably even less, yeah. Exactly.
And that's another thing, that there will be a new Wreck-It Ralph movie, but set in the internet. Where, I mean, I don't know why they're going on the internet, but it's probably like to physically realize different weird websites or something.
Yeah, I don't really have much interest in that, but yeah, we'll see. I like the first Wreck-It Ralph, but yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, that's true. That's also stuff coming out, so Sonic having a lot of cameos and stuff. Right, so I guess it ends this conversation for now.
One more thing, just want to say happy St. Patrick's Day for anyone, and also be safe.
Yes, because there's lots of snow in Britain right now, right?
Exactly, and also there'll be a lot of drunkards probably slipping around in the snow if they're not too careful.
It's perfect timing for bad weather, yeah. All right, well, stay safe out there, and bye-bye.
Cheerio.
Hello, and welcome back to my stream. It's going horribly wrong with all kind of technical issues, and this is the third time Frobman and me are going to talk, so we're all going to pretend we have amnesia and don't remember our answers and try to have this entire conversation from scratch again. Hi Frobman, how are you doing?
I'm fine, and I'm always looking forward to talking more Sonic with you again, even if it's the same thing for the third time.
Going around in loops, yes. So yes, there was a stream yesterday, the SXW something, and we learned a bunch of new things, including a new Sonic Mania Plus and a racing game where we know nothing about. So let's talk about that. Sonic Mania Plus, you looking forward to it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yes, South by Southwest Gaming 2018 was the panel, which had Aaron Webber and Taxi Iizuka and some of the licensing people and Tyson Hess there talking about what they have in plans. Mania Plus is just enhancements to the game, so I guess some quirks will be fixed out and other new things added into the game. Get Mighty and Ray as playable, who have not been seen for a very, very long time, and an encore mode, which seems like possibly a new game plus remixed levels kind of thing. As far as we know, they haven't really said much, but considering it's a throwback to old-timey Sega games and Sonic games, it might be something like the Virtual Cop encore in previous recordings, or player competition mode. That's fine, and a physical release was something people have been asking, which comes with a holographic sleeve and reversible Mega Drive sleeve and art book, so stuff will want a physical copy, and I'll probably get it as well for the third time because that's what you do.
Yeah, it's great that the booklet is returned again. I saw a lot of people requesting that. I wonder if it's the same test book, the short one, or like a full book now this time.
Well, they said it was an art book, so it's not going to be the manual as some people have gotten here and there. So it'll have 32 pages of art concepts.
Oh, an actual art book. Okay, I didn't know that. Wasn't sure about that. Oh, that sounds great. So we actually get new value.
Sorry, like $30, which is like $30. So it's like $10 extra is just for the extra stuff than the main game. I think it's like £15. So if it came out here, it'd be like £20, £25, I suppose.
All right, yeah. I wasn't sure it was a bonus version. Okay. Poor Sonic Paradox. They were making those new parody cartoons, including a running gag that Mighty's never used in Sonic games again. And now their joke is ruined. Thanks.
Yes, my friend Cyberlink for 20 also did that, saying, "What am I supposed to do with all these Where's Mighty jokes now?"
Poor guy. I guess you have to replace Mighty with a different character. Classic Amy or something.
You can go like way back when with all concept designs like Madonna or somebody.
Suppose that's possible, yeah. Although then the joke becomes really obscure. Although with Mighty it was already obscure enough. Not many people know about Chaotix.
And well, Mighty and Ray were from Sega Sonic Arcade, but people knew Mighty more because of Chaotix anyways, and the odd comic books. Ray was barely as well known anyways.
True, that's true. And yeah, I forgot about Sonic Archie, of course. He's relatively known from that.
And Madonna might even return because they used her briefly in Archie, and they brought Honey the Cat for Sonic the Fighters in an official version, so you never know what might happen.
I really doubt it, but it would be nice, definitely. But they have already such a bad track record in properly using their characters, so I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah, when are we going to see Marine the Raccoon again?
Well, in general, when are we going to revisit Blaze her kingdom? Because Blaze is a princess, but we never saw the kingdom she's a princess of. Even in Sonic Rush Adventure, we just see a bunch of random islands, but even there, Blaze is just a traveler, that's not really her home location, so it would be cool to see where Blaze actually lives and is the princess of.
Yeah, as far as we know, it's just same as their world, just more ocean than land, I guess. I guess it's like an opposite sort of land, opposite world.
I guess if I had to make a kingdom for her, I would be based on India, because that still kind of has a pirate theme, and Blaze kind of looks like, with the circle on her head, kind of like an India effect to it. I guess
Yeah.
that is what I would be inspired by, and it's a unique, exotic location for Sonic.
Yeah, I can see that.
But that's just me, and that's just speculating. So never mind. Yeah. So Sonic Mania Plus, you're gonna buy it? I'm not sure. I don't think so. I kind of wish there were
I
new
probably
levels.
will.
I wish there were kind of new levels. Yeah. Then there's the Sonic Mania cartoon, which looks incredible. Very excellent animation. Even a little bit 3D or very smooth animation.
Well, it's Tyson Hess and Studio Yata again, so there's like, from what I know, there's like 20 people working on it. Some working on specific scenes, some doing in between, some doing keyframes and colors and cleanup and things like that. So it's a very big team effort kind of thing. Even just for like what's probably going to be a minute or two long, it still has a lot of people working on it, and that's why it looks as good as it does.
Yeah, I bet. Still very impressive looking, so I'm jealous. But yeah, I hope it's kind of stupid so I can make fun of it because, you know, that's who I am. Always ruining their fun and mocking them.
Well, it follows straight after Forces as Classic Sonic returns from the end of the game into this point. So there's your bit of making fun of there.
Well, at least I'm impressed they actually do give honor to Sonic Forces. I was so expecting them to literally have Sonic's pose be how he was at the end of Mania, so you could kind of pretend that Forces never happened. You just straight teleport from the end of Mania to this new cartoon series. But I guess they have to be friends with Sega, so they still have to respect Forces.
And it did say the Classic Sonic and Forces are the same one as in Mania, and I think they said same one in Generations, but I don't remember that bit, but they definitely said same one in Mania and Forces.
Well, of course, that's the intention, but I wouldn't be surprised if they would try to retcon it, because classic fans tend to be very purists, and they're not very happy about the Forces connection. But maybe that's just me having a cynical impression of them.
Well, classic fans still accept Sonic Blast on the Game Gear, so whatever.
That's true. That's a shame. Nice graphics for the Game Gear, but it's not fun to play at all. No, it's probably my least favorite Game Gear game, even less than Labyrinth.
Yeah, it's not anybody. It's not a lot of people's favorite. So if they can accept that game, they can accept Mania Sonic being the same one in Forces.
I'm not sure if they respect that. It's probably only Sonic 1, 2, and 3, and CD maybe. I think all the Game Gear games are supposedly non-canon, or we're supposed to pretend don't exist.
Yeah, but I'm saying if they have no problem with those games, then they should have no problem with this, is what I'm saying. If they have no problem with half of those bad games, then yeah.
Probably, yes. But then again, they also make the argument that classic Sonic should never talk and shouldn't be in 3D, even though I could point to several classic games where he is in 3D and is talking, so there's always like a little bit of choosing and picking going on when it comes to that.
Yeah, though, I can see why the non-talking thing works, because apart from the one or two bits, you kind of expect him not to talk, just because you see him miming his actions more so. Very rarely do you see him say anything, so in your mind it kind of equates to classic Sonic, no voice. That's how it comes out. And modern Sonic talks a lot and says stuff. That's how you equate them.
It's still fascinating to me because classic Eggman and classic Tails still talk, and there's not really like a character logic to it. There's no logical reason for the character itself not to be able to talk. It's purely on a meta level. Just you don't associate the character with it. And I think that's why I don't never really buy classic Sonic as like an actual character. He's more like a physical incarnation of an era more than an actual figure that's actually there.
Yeah, and you gotta have some other characters talking, because it's just modern Sonic and Tails talking to each other, and you got these two other characters just miming their actions and stuff. It kind of makes for a very weird story sort of thing. So classic Tails, I kind of don't kind of don't mind him talking. Same with Eggman, especially if it means more Mike Pollock. But yeah, it's like classic Sonic. You see him more as the one who shouldn't talk at all, and you're kind of okay with that. But it wouldn't make for a good story or good, good whatever if you just have two talking characters acting opposite two non-talking characters.
Yeah, it makes sense. I get it. Still, I just find it interesting to talk about, to think about, and try to figure out how it works.
Otherwise, no talking in these cartoon shorts. It's just all animation, no talking, T-Lopes music, 5 shorts, monthly schedule. That's about it. So yeah, looking forward to those.
Yeah, it could be very interesting. I can't really do that. I mean, I did make that Sonic CD in minutes, and the upcoming Sonic Mania in minutes I'm making also doesn't have full dialogue, but there's still like voice samples in it. I still want Amy to shout "Sonic" or Eggman to laugh. There still needs some sound to come out of it, even if it's just sound bites.
Yeah, there's some fun to be done if you do a cartoon without any dialogue, because sometimes dialogue works in animation, sometimes it doesn't. It might be more effective just not have anybody talking and you still get an idea what's going on, but you have somebody going, oh no, we have to go to the plant and stop them, when you could just show them giving a determined look and going to the plant. That's much more effective than hearing them is talking out what they're going to do or what they're thinking, when you could just see it instead. It works sometimes.
Voice acting is a little too overused. It's true.
Yeah, so sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on how you want to do it. Especially in like a short cartoon thing, it's probably better to not use it too much if you can, unless part of the joke is the dialogue and the acting. So it depends on what kind of thing you want to do, and it can be fun sometimes if you can make it work.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, my brain doesn't quite work entirely mute. Not to mention, I'm too lazy with animation. If you're gonna use without dialogue, you have to really be very good in specifically drawing their moods and face expressions and poses very right. Then again, I'm sure with the Sonic Mania animation team, they're in very good hands. They seem to be excellent in conveying emotion through the characters.
I have a few of them follow on Twitter, and a lot of them do a lot of good work separately and all that, and just see all of them combined to do this one cartoon. It's like one of the more impressive things to see from a lot of separate talented people doing their own separate thing into one thing like that.
Sure. Yeah. So and then they asked questions to the audience. I always find it fascinating when the people asking the questions have this entire biography about them. Like, oh, I'm a fence in 1994, and I played this game, this game, and this game. It's like, just get to the point. But yeah, any questions you found interesting?
Yeah, as like I said before, if you're gonna meet actually Zuka first time, you kind of want to put out like saying, "Hi, I'm a big fan, like your stuff. It's all good." So you don't want to go like, "Hello, I have a question." Just leave it like that. Especially if somebody probably you only just meet the one time, there you don't want to leave it with that kind of impression.
That would be nice, yeah. I was surprised there was a question about the PC music of Sonic 3 Knuckles. I always thought I'm the only person who cares about that.
Yeah, especially since it was about the music, where they changed it because of limitations or because of the Michael Jackson thing, and that stumped Izuka a bit. And all he had to say is that he wasn't there, but from what he heard, it had something to do with requests and other stuff like that. Their part, as well as trying to get the game out as quick as possible. So he can't really comment much, especially because even Michael Jackson passed away. They really can't say anything about what his involvement is with the thing still. So probably couldn't say much anyways until some point, which has always been a thing with 3 and Knuckles. Probably why it doesn't get ported much. And yet Sonic 1 and 2 get ported a lot, and then the music themselves are a licensing nightmare in themselves.
Yeah, but Sonic 1 and 2 also have licensing problems with their music, and that doesn't stop them from porting it. So I guess they have slightly cheaper arrangements or something then. But yeah, it's really a shame we didn't get a straight answer about the whole Michael Jackson thing, because it has been like an internet urban legend for a while. So we still got a vague answer that didn't really help anything. But then again, that's what I'm pretty much used to with Azuka right now. He never really gives a straight answer. He always just kind of gives fan service answers.
Yeah, like Hypersonic, why we don't see him anymore, to which they say if they keep adding in more forms, it'll be very eerily similar to a popular Japanese show that's going on that does the same thing, so they kind of don't want to be like that, so they just stick with Supersonic whenever.
How adorable that now they're talking about preventing to resemble other stuff too much. Like they, like Sonic isn't already well known by constantly trying to rip off other games and such. But yeah, that's a cute answer. Although you're probably disappointed. You probably wanted them to more resemble a Kamen Rider or something.
Yeah, if they had one character or two like that, that would be nice.
That'd be funny, like a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger type Sonic character.
And they said they ask about like sticks being in the main games, which the Sonic PR team are a big fan of, and couldn't really talk about it at the time, but probably in that new racing game might see sticks there, possibly, because she's pretty popular as is anyways, as Silver.
Makes sense that she would make appearances in non-canon games. I mean, she also appeared in the Olympic game, so I can see her appear in the racing game. It's not canon, but it's supposed to make sense anyway.
Yeah, and Sonic Runners as well. Could play her there.
Yep, so I'm sure she'll pop up, but not in any actual context of an actual character, just as a reference.
And there's also mention of the IDW comics that's starting next month. They just do the first 4 issues for the first month there, just so everybody can get an idea of what's going on with that comic straight away from the beginning, the first month, and then it goes monthly from issue 5 onwards. And Ian Flynn is still involved. He does good stuff. He got a lot of people from the previous comics there: Tyson Hess, Tracy Yardley, Jennifer Hernandez, and all that. Still working on it, and also bringing in new talent as well, because they don't want to be just the last people working on the stuff. They also want new people working on it. It's something IDW does with all its properties like Transformers and Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters and all that. And if it does pretty well, and it probably will because it's Sonic, they'll probably have more comics here and there. There'll probably be a lot of miniseries, like you might have a Tales miniseries or a Chaotix or Shadows miniseries here and there, like 4 issues long or so, and then you could have like a separate series sticking with classic Sonic, or adaptations of video games and done in comic form or not. So, or maybe they could even reprint old Archie Sonic comics, or the Sonic the Comic UK comics, like they do with Transformers, where they reprint Transformers UK comics. So if it does well, we could see more from Sonic in comic form than they used to with Archie anyways.
Probably. I was kind of amused in Ian Flynn's interview that he tried to have a reason why the new female character was there, and he had like a statement about why the other female characters don't work. I was kind of convinced, like, yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. But then, because he made a statement that he didn't want to introduce characters that weren't necessary, couldn't be replaced with other characters. So with the girl with the tail, he kind of did make a good statement. But then immediately afterwards, they introduced those 2 new henchmen. And was like, man, aren't there already like bazillion henchman characters in Sonic? Just use Knack to Weasel or something, or one of Eggman's moons or robots. What about the hard-boiled heavies or something?
Yeah, though they're mostly sticking with modern Sonic, so don't know if we see Fang and Mighty again or not. We might do. Yeah, so far, we just know it's like most of the modern Sonic cast. We can definitely see those again. Styx, who knows? Mighty and Ray, who knows? And he got like Blaze lives in another dimension, so he can't always have like, hey, look, it's our friend Blaze from the other dimension, away from her kingdom, helping us in another adventure, away from her home for a long time, and keeps coming in and out. And
you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if the games don't act like that, because that's pretty much what they do with Knuckles and Silver. I mean, fuck, Silver didn't even get an introduction, yeah, in the comic, but it's all, oh, yeah. I'm back from the future because I'm here now, whatever. So it's kind of sad that Ian Flynn is so worried about that, while Sonic Team doesn't care at all. I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of shove Blaze in there, like, oh look, I'm Blaze, and don't even mention that he's from a different dimension. The writers probably don't care.
Yeah, and then you got like Amy Rose, who's the only one they could use because she's always with Sonic and friends, and you got Rouge, who's off doing her own thing, stealing jewels or working for Gun, and Cream is like a little girl, so you can't be like, hey there, 8-year-old girl, do you want to help us go save a bunch of people from deadly evil robots? You can't really do that, really.
Well, this Amy statement didn't really make much sense, because she is a valuable thing. I think Ian Flynn said something like she's all over the place, which says more about the terrible writing she has endured than really anything about the character itself.
So they probably have to introduce somebody else new just for the comics, especially so it's like, when you're doing new adaptations of things, you don't be like same exact thing as what came before. You have to add something new to it, especially characters or settings and all that. So it's kind of thing that happens with adaptation, so have to see those. And as with henchmen like Fang and all the hooligans, they're presented as bounty hunters, so they're not always readily working under Eggman, and he's got robots that's always getting messed up. Orbot and Keybots don't really fight, so can't expect those. Metal Sonic.
It's kind of pathetic that modern Eggman doesn't really have fighting robots. Only Metal Sonic, really. He doesn't really have like a well-known robotic sidekick that's useful for a fight. So yeah, unless Orbot and Cubot start piloting a robot machine or something. But
yeah, it probably won't happen, and even then it'll probably be somewhat comedic. And you got Metal Sonic that comes in and out, so you probably have to create some new henchmen who do the heavy lifting, so to speak, especially as not robots who are easily dismantled, and you have to wait like, oh, that robot henchman is destroyed, we'll see him again sometime, rebuilt, whatever, who cares. So you feel a bit more, oh, what's the word? Well, you wouldn't feel that with non-robot henchmen, in a sense.
Yeah, I suppose that kind of makes sense, yeah. So yeah, the comics, IDW, I guess I'll have to check it out, although I still have to read the Archie comics, which you nicely donated to me, thank you very much. I read a couple of them. Ian Flynn always comes across to me like he doesn't really write plots, but it's more just kind of playing in the playground. Like I read one story that's technically about Blaze chasing after the Solaris Emeralds, but it didn't really have a plot. It's just, oh, here's this character doing this thing, and oh, here's this character doing this thing. Like, Ian Flynn almost comes across like he writes parodies without making jokes, but he's kind of the same thought process as I do.
Yeah, the thing with him compared to previous writers and Archie Sonics, that he actually uses stuff that's in Sonic rather than making his own stuff around Sonic, in a sense. So it's like, there's Sonic, there's his friends from the games, there's his locales from these games, and there's the stuff that happens in these games. Why don't we just use them? I mean, it is a comic about Sonic, not just a comic that has Sonic and then all these other things I would rather write about instead, as previous writers did. Like, somebody won't name, but we'll call him Ben Henders instead.
That's always something that fascinates me about American comics. They always seem to have this weird, almost respectless attitude sometimes. Like, they just come in and like, you know what, I don't like this character, kill it off. Like, you know what, this is boring, I'm going to replace it with this. It's like, man, you have balls to just walk into a long-running series like that and have that attitude.
Yeah, it varies from writer to writer, especially series, because because like Marvel and DC, they keep everything in continuity in a sense, and unless they say like, yeah, let's just change this up a bit just for the story, because then you might as well just say like, this is not in continuity previously, just want to write my own story and all that, which sometimes they do, but not a lot. And then there's some writers who are like fans of previous stuff and they use those, and then there's some who aren't fans of stuff that happened recently, so they change those up, and it could be editorial as well, so it varies here and there.
When Peter Parker was suddenly lost his marriage with Mary Jane or something, and that was like a perfect example of that stuff. I don't like this, change it.
Yeah, it especially doesn't help that a lot of the stuff that all of the stories of Peter Parker and Mary Jane being married, they were not written that well, so it's kind of why people feel like, yeah, it's not working. Let's just we can't say they have a divorce. Have the devil remove it from continuity. That works better, and it can be fixed later on in future if it has to be. So keep that there. So that's what they do. That's American comics for you.
I'm so glad I don't follow American comics. It would give me a headache. Usually, European comics are more down to earth.
Yeah, there's some comics I could still recommend, but yeah, not a lot of them, and especially if you care about like continuity and all that. Like I said, IDW, they do a better job at that, and for the most part they just do things fresh, because there's no point in continuing on from a previous license, especially since they just license properties and all that. Some exceptions like G.I. Joe, because the Marvel G.I. Joe comics were some of the best comics around, still are, and they still have the same writer from that comic to continuing his story while doing a separate G.I. Joe continuity on the side, along with Transformers and all that, so it varies.
Fair enough. Let's see, is there anything else you can talk about?
Just a racing game that was announced in the end.
Yes, let's talk about everything we know about the game. It has a name, and there's cars in it.
Well, it doesn't really have a name, just a logo that has an R in it, which could mean anything. It could be Sonic Racing, it could be Sonic something R, whatever. It could be Sonic and Sega, Sonic and Mario Kart, who knows. It could be anything, because if it's just going to be a typical racing game, it would have just had the name and a promo picture of it shown already rather than the teasing, so it probably have more to it than what we're seeing.
Yeah, probably. Although then again, I'm kind of reminded of Sonic Forces with its original teaser trailer, also didn't show anything.
No, but then we had an idea of what was going to be in this game. Here we just had snippets of a car and a logo. That's about it, which doesn't really tell you as much as that original teaser trailer.
Yeah, so I'm a little disappointed. I was kind of hoping for an on-foot racer. I kind of like Sonic R. I mean, Sonic R was badly executed, sadly. It was not really fun to play, but as a concept, I love that. So I really wish they would give that a second chance, but alas, it's another generic card game. Or not, we're not sure if it's going to add any weird stuff to it.
Yeah, though that can be strange, because you think that everybody runs as fast as Sonic, but at the same time, not really. So, and a kart race kind of makes better, because if you're going to have like Cream the Rabbit race against Sonic and Shadow and all that in her normal speed, she's going to be left in the dust, and that's not going to work well.
That's where Sonic R is brilliant, because it's partly also a platformer. It has platform elements in it, so you could make the game that sure you can take the fastest character, but then as soon as like a very complicated level structure shows up, you're screwed. Well, then a Cream or a Knuckles can just climb over it and are way faster in navigating through structures. So you could try to figure out a balance with that, but that's probably too difficult to pull off. So maybe I'm talking nonsense.
Yeah, and then a car, especially if it's by Sumo Digital, probably works better, because they know how to do car racing games like Outrun and All Stars Racing, and Well, it says it's not going to be a sequel to anything before they probably do something new with it. Might still have the transforming gimmick. Maybe it might have something completely different. Who knows?
I hope it doesn't have the Transformer thing. I didn't really care much for it. It's not that I hate it or something, so I don't mind if it's back, but I didn't really see the point. But I do.
It added more variety to the racing rather than just sticking to the cars, especially with other characters. In the first game, it's like some in cars, some in planes, some in motorcycles. The motorcycles were horribly unbalanced and broken. They could easily outrun everybody. So, and here it has more variety with everybody having a car that transforms into a plane and a boat and different ways of racing in those. So, yeah, they had a bit more variety. So it was pretty neat in a sense. Even though like Diddy Kong Racing did do that first, so but at the same time you had to have a set vehicle instead of changing in mid race.
Yeah, it's an evolution. You know what I would think is cool? Is if instead of just courses, you have more of an open world kind of thing, and then they add like a Crazy Taxi style gameplay to it. But then that would make more sense as a Sega All-Stars game or something. But that would be nice, like there's like a separate Crazy Taxi mode, just for fun.
Yeah.
Probably the closest we'll get to a Crazy Taxi 4.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's just Sonic only, I can sort of understand that, because with have different Sega characters, it's always like, can we use this Sega character? Can we use that Sega franchise? Do we have to license this music out and all this? And with Sonic's like, hey, can we use these characters? Yeah, sure, go ahead. Okay, that's all we need to... That's the only thing we need to ask. Let's go with that. Well, it's just less complicated, especially when you know about licensing. There's all these different things you have to do, like Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, that had a very hard time getting localized because they didn't have... Because all the Tatsunoko anime shows were licensed to different companies in not just America, but in different European countries, so it only resulted in one character not being in the game, but we had more, so yeah, it's like licensing more than one series can be a bit of a hassle, so I can understand if they just stick to Sonic just like that.
Fair enough, but on the other hand, it also brings in more buyers, because, you know, how many people did buy Sonic and All-Star Sega Racing because they were happy to see Vice from Skies of Arcadia return, or Joe Shinobi. And that's why I'm always surprised they didn't use, like, Sakura Wars or something more Japanese. Then they would get a lot of Japanese buyers all of a sudden. That would really jack up the amount of people buying the games. Then the licensing problems would actually pay off in several thousand extra buyers.
Yeah, but at the end we never got... Well, we did get more Shenmue, but we never got any more, say, Panzer Dragoon or Billy Hatcher or anything as a result, so I don't know.
It didn't lead to anything, no. That's one thing... Sorry?
No, I was saying, and the game also mostly sold well because it was pretty cheap to buy multiple times anyway, so that's one reason a lot of people got it, just because it was pretty cheap to buy as well, so... And it was only just called Sonic All-Stars Racing Transform, removing the Sega bit from the last game. It was more focused on Sonic.
Do you think many people bought it because the real life racer was in it? Don't make a... What was her name?
Danica Patrick.
Yeah, that was such a random thing. Sega and their licensing commercial stuff.
I mean, people in America knew who she was, but everybody outside America, like, who? What? Who?
Yeah.
I mean, I knew who Banjo-Kazooie are, and I knew who Wreck-It Ralph is, but who's Danica Patrick? I don't follow NASCAR.
And she isn't even in the Daytona car. That's even more of a missed opportunity. Then again, I guess the Hornet did appear in it through ages, but that was my first thought. Oh, why isn't she in the Hornet?
Yeah. I mean, it would have been nice if we had more Sega stuff, but... At the same time, Sonic is the only thing that sells for Sega the most. Other things that barely sell just as well are Puyo Puyo and Bayonetta and Yakuza as of late, and other stuff like Total War and Football Manager, but otherwise, anything else Sega barely sells just as well as those.
But if there's one thing Yakuza proved is that one big reason why their IPs don't work is because Sega themselves suck at advertising. Because as soon as Sony took over, Yakuza became much more popular and mainstream. Now I see it all over the place, while before nobody knew about it. So that's kind of frustrating. Like, sure, on one hand you can blame the IPs, but on the other hand, Sega themselves do a terrible job in selling their own IPs.
Yeah, I could barely think of any other old Sega IPs they tried to revive that didn't work, like Golden Axe and Knights. I think they tried, it didn't work out. Some of the Amigo, I don't know how well that worked on the Wii, so who knows.
I guess so. Then again, Sega's always been an arcade company, so most of their IPs don't really make sense as big AAA games. That's why I kind of hope that their cell phones or handhelds would have got a more Sega IPs return, but they never really utilized that. They keep trying to turn them into AAA games, and it just doesn't work.
They did make that Shinobi game for the 3DS, but I don't think that sold well.
All right, yeah.
Oh
well. Of course, we can always speculate what it could have been, but in the end, it doesn't matter. It's a shame.
Yeah.
I guess that's why we need fans to step in. I think get sequels being worked on.
Yeah, get fans or people like Yu Suzuki asking for the license of Shenmue just to make Shenmue 3. That's the sort of thing you probably get new IPs and stuff. Like, there are those people trying to make a Streets of Rage game, but that was got taken down. So if they had approached Sega and asking them about making it and showing them concept art, it might have worked. Who knows? But yeah, you never know these days. But that's probably the best way to get some old IPs revived, by just going like, "Hey Sega, I can make this game for you, and it'll be the best thing ever. Hear me out."
There, like, someone tried it with Jet Set Radio, but it was like shut down. So Sega does shoot down their ideas very often. Sadly.
Yeah, I guess it. Yeah, it kind of varies here and there. And we're still getting House of the Dead in arcade form, as mentioned before, so that's something at least.
Yeah, I sure hope I can find that new Daytona game or House of the Dead game in an arcade somewhere. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I hope I can find any arcades at all.
Well, they'd probably be ported at some point, so you never know.
But there's so many Sega arcade games that never got a port. Like the last Yu Suzuki game, Sega TV Racing. Although I did find it once in a Dutch Comic Expo, so I did play it, so I was happy about that. But really sucks it didn't get a home release. Although I guess it wasn't super special or anything. But still, it's from the maker from Outrun and Hang On and all that stuff. So his last racing game, you think that would be worth something.
Otherwise, I think that's about it from the panel, unless there's much to talk about the Sonic Puma shoes.
Yeah, I think we talked too much now. We're rambling. Anyway, thanks for your time, Frobman.
Thank you.
Any projects you're working on you want to let the audience know?
Well, I'd say I might have something I want to do, but you'll probably be disappointed when you see it. That's about it.
Ah, what a confidence. You remind me of me.
No,
anything else you want to shill? Sorry?
No, I'm not saying it'll be bad. I'm just saying it won't be the thing they want it to be. That's what I'm saying, in terms of you'll probably be disappointed when I do get it made and all that.
It's not a Sonic cartoon? Boo! Or not a Castlevania cartoon? Because Frobman is the maker of Sonic in Brief, in case people don't know.
Yeah, I do that and some Castlevanias and anything else I feel like doing, though.
Many projects. You had a webcomic for a while, and oh man, you're such a busy bee, you.
Yeah, I'm trying to make this kind of the job I do, just drawing and making comics and books and cartoons and all that, so whatever works best for me and becomes like the kind of job I'm going to do, works out, yeah. Also support Roger on Patreon, even $1 a month is better than nothing, especially for if like 1,000 people put in just $1 a month, he'll get $1,000 a month just like that. If you like his stuff and want to see more of that.
I just never really advertise my Patreon. It's so pathetic. But anyway, yeah, thanks for the show for me and for you. And yeah, that ends this video, I suppose. So bye-bye.
Ciao.